knowing the pathology is crucial for designing research studies to treat CTE in the future.
Did I hear you correctly? Treating CTE?
Of course. I mean, that's the goal.
CTE, also known as traumatic brain injury, is a big concern among athletes, specifically with football. We've heard a lot about that. Well, earlier this week, a former high school football player went to the NFL's office with a gun and killed himself and 4 other people in New York. He had a note in his pocket about his own brain injuries.
Well, joining us now is Duane Pohlman. He is a National Investigative Correspondent with Spotlight on America, and he's been doing extensive reporting on CTE. Duane, thanks for joining us. What have you learned from your reporting about it and to talk about possibly treating it?
So we've been covering this issue at Spotlight on America for years now, and chronic traumatic encephalopathy, which is CTE, has been evolving in our understanding. The bottom line is it's very similar to Alzheimer's, but yet different. The protein markers are different, and it's about the brain and the brain injuries that are sustained in contact sports and other endeavors. Every time that you not only get a concussion, or it's a subconcussive blow that really is at the issue here. It's just the brain moves back and forth and neurons are severed, and we're starting to understand through the experts that creates a real problem later on in life as the brain has issues down the road, and that is what's being studied.
Mm-hmm. Well, currently there's no way to determine exactly that that patient might have it until they examine the brain after death, right?
That is correct, although at Boston University, Dr. Jesse Mez is making some progress. We did a story on that, which is that they're looking at ways of identifying CTE before death. That would be a game changer. Mm-hmm. That would possibly not only lead to the diagnosis but treatment, and you heard that little bit of sound there. They are working toward that right now, but it still is elusive, so you're correct. It comes in a diagnosis primarily right now in Boston with Dr. Ann McKee at the Brain Center, so they have to do an exact study, but they can get into the brain after death and see the markers.
Well, while they're still living, what are some of the signs doctors can look for? I know some of the professional football players have talked about having depression, and some that have committed suicide actually shoot themselves in the chest to preserve their brain.
Yeah, that is happening. I mean, that happened with the case of Zach Easter, the young football player, that he had a note and he wanted his brain studied. So it's not unique just to professional athletes. They know something is wrong. They can't think properly, they're disoriented, but also there are outbursts of anger and confusion, and what it is that their processes inside their brain are not working well. They get hazy, confused, anger, all of that is part of it. It's hard to separate that out, but it does look a lot like Alzheimer's. A little bit of difference there, but it looks a lot like Alzheimer's. The only difference is Alzheimer's, which usually occurs late in life. This is happening with young people. I mean, really young people that are seeing that their brain is slipping away from that. It's just horrifying for them.
Well, there's been some talk, I think, even Parkinson's could be a result of those type of brain injuries, too. There's Brett Favre, of course, is diagnosed with Parkinson. I mean, there's no proof of it, but there's been talk about it.
Yeah, there's also, I mean, some of the boxers, some of the people, any sport. Look, let's separate out. You have football at the center of this, right? And according to Dr. Ann McKee at the Brain Center, it's not the concussion that's the issue, it's the subconcussive blows. So it's the nature of the sport. But you have soccer with the headers. That's creating real concern about brain damage that could lead to problems down the road. Any sport that has any kind of contact, and that's virtually all of them, with any kind of brain trauma or subconcussive blows, that could create real issues down the road. I was in Boston, and this is really crazy. I was in the brain center, and one of the brains that was being studied was that of a rodeo star that died, and the brain was being examined because he had so many concussions from being thrown and hitting things. So it's really now becoming a very serious kind of study about what happens to the brain. I'll give you one last thing. We just aired a story about how they're tying through the Pentagon did a study to take a look at the connection between brain injuries and the development of brain cancer, and there's a clear tie there. So we don't know enough about the brain, but we do know that if it gets injured, if you suffer a traumatic brain injury of any kind, that is a problem down the road or could present a problem down the road for not only your quality of living, but your very life.
Well, we've had doctors even tell us that whiplash in a car crash is a brain injury.
So just to kind of tell you what happens there, because that was a curiosity early on, you don't have to be, as we understand it, just hit. It's literally anytime there is a G-force that's going forward and then back, the brain, it trails behind what your head does, and it's the brain actually smashing against the skull, and then again, that severs nerves and creates brain damage.
Okay, what about prevention? I know that the NFL has done some things with helmets and things like that, but where are we at in that realm?
Well, so we're taking a look at Virginia Tech has led the way on much of the study that we see on the helmet issue, and they have made a great deal of progress on a lot of sports, which is to lessen the kind of impact blows. So that is happening, and there is an extra cushioning and all kinds of techniques that are being employed to better protect the head and brain. But the question that we keep coming back to is, can you protect against those stops and starts, and whether the brain can be protected against itself from moving forward and back? And that's really the issue. The question I get most from people is, as a parent, should my child play football? I can tell you, in talking to the people who are very active in this, they're saying don't have them play football. But you know, it's about risk, and it's about what is being done. The one thing that I will tell you, that as people evaluate what is the danger, is if you get one concussion, no matter the age, the next concussion will come quicker, and the one after that will come quicker. If you have a situation, if you're in sports and you have an over-aggressive staff maybe that says, hey, get back in there, and they're not giving the brain time to rest, that is almost a recipe for disaster for the individual. That's what I heard from the experts. So the point is that if you have a concussion or you have a head trauma of any kind, you need to sit it out. And sometimes that means the season, according to the experts I've talked to.
Okay, that makes sense. My daughter suffered a concussion playing volleyball, and you're out for a few months. Yep.
Yeah, they have the concussion protocols. Yeah. All right, Duane.
Listen,
thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah.
Thank you for having me. And again, we got a lot more coming your way on the issue. We're setting it up right now for the exploration.
So much to learn.
Yeah,
okay,
that's for sure. Yeah, we appreciate that. We'll be following those reports very closely. Duane, nice talking to you. We appreciate that.
Nice talking to you.